Step up, show your pride.
It feels like 1969 all over again. Keep on fighting.
There is a gay history associated with the street.
We're making an invisible history visible. We have it all around us.
Every single time I step out on stage, I feel like I'm able to just fly.
We collect all signs of lesbian life.
We want to be out there. We want to be known as athletes.
Resist, finish your drink, and fix your wig.
Hi, everyone, and happy Pride. I'm Sam Champion.
And I'm Lauren Glassberg. Thank you for joining us.
I'm Kemberly Richardson. Welcome to Pride 2026 for all of us.
So the theme of New York City Pride this year is based on a quote attributed to Stonewall veteran and trans activist Marsha P. who once said, "There is no pride for some of us without liberation for all of us." And the fight for queer liberation continues to this day.
At the last count, there's over 16 prides around the country that were canceled. There's so much hate. People are trying to erase us, and we're not going backward. Our message is be loud, be yourself, live authentically, continue the resistance.
Earlier this year, the Pride flag in Christopher Park, which is part of Stonewall National Monument, became a lightning rod of controversy after it was removed by the Trump administration.
But following a fierce backlash and a federal lawsuit, the Pride flag is flying once again, and Pride 2026 promises to be one of the best yet.
Emmy winner Bowen Yang is one of the 5 Grand Marshals chosen to lead this year's Pride March. Yang broke ground on Saturday Night Live as the show's first Chinese-American cast member and by helping to usher in a new era in queer humor.
The impressive slate of Grand Marshals includes 3 transgender women, former Pose star Dominique Jackson, Peppermint, the first out trans contestant on RuPaul's Drag Race, and Bernie Wagenblast, the iconic voice of the New York City subway.
Now more than ever, visibility matters. The rights of LGBTQ people, especially the trans community, are under increasing threat by conservative lawmakers. According to Trans Legislation Tracker, nearly 800 anti-trans bills have been introduced in 43 states so far this year.
Yeah, discriminatory laws highlight the ongoing need for safe spaces within the queer community. One such place is T Lounge, New York City's first and only bar owned and operated by trans women.
It's the color of the trans flag. It's pink.
I'm working at the first trans bar that's owned by a trans woman.
Hello, this is my dream job.
We heard a lot of no's when we were trying to open up our bar here, but we just had an anniversary. We made 2 years.
T Lounge is definitely a safe place for the community. This establishment is not just a bar or a lounge, it's definitely a family for me. When you're in a safe place, you feel like there's no inhibition. People get to be happy. We are very lucky to have T Lounge.
This is a dream that I have because I want to leave to my community something that they can see that never been done. We try to change how people see us.
The world is full of hate. We will not let this discrimination and prejudice belittle us.
We know the value that we have in the LGBT community and in this world. And we're not backing down. And we're going to keep on trekking along as we always have.
Happy Pride, everyone. Happy Pride.
Happy Pride. Another safe space just may surprise you. With the World Cup drawing global attention, some local soccer players are breaking down stereotypes on the pitch.
Competition and camaraderie without social stigma. That's the goal of the New York Ramblers, a group that broke ground as the world's first openly gay soccer club.
Soccer is a global game. It's something that everybody can relate to. My name is James O'Brien. I'm the director of practices for the New York Ramblers.
Then you'll go into the big skips. I would love to see the play to the winger. Ready, play.
The New York Ramblers are a space for people of the queer community to come and play soccer. If you want to come in first time, learn how to kick a ball, that's great. If you're here to win and compete and be the best, we're also here for that.
Nice, Prince.
Jostle! Oh my God!
Being a Rambler has been a gift for me and so many other people.
I think that this community has brought a lot of joy into my life. The New York Ramblers started in 1980. I joined this league 3 years ago. I've made so many incredible friends and met so many people that I look up to and that inspire me. We have members that have been here since the late 80s, and seeing them still playing and being active is truly incredible to witness.
Let's go, Peter!
I love this game. It's a beautiful game. We want to be out there. We want to be known as athletes, not as just a bunch of sisters or gay men just playing on the field. We want it to be normalized.
Pride started kind of as a riot originally, and I think still being out and playing sport and being visible is still a form of riot.
Bring it in, everyone. Nice job. Yeah.
Coming up next, join us on a walking tour of historic queer sites in Greenwich Village.
It's a way for people to understand that history is all around them and they can physically connect to the story.
And later,
Happy Pride, and always remember, fight, resist, finish your drink, and fix your wig.
we introduce you to a digital drag queen with some wildly entertaining stories to share. So stay with us. Welcome back. Last month, the National Trust added Stonewall National Monument to its annual list of America's 11 most endangered historic places. Now, the Trust cited ongoing efforts to erase queer history at the federal level.
Fortunately, local historians are keeping the facts straight, so to speak.
The New York City LGBTQ Historic Sites Project is dedicated to sharing queer history one tour at a time.
Tucked away in the village,
this was the site of the first of what we would now call a gay pride march.
Around almost every corner,
it was the first successful LGBTQ bookstore.
Are rich pieces of history, locations that many pass by without realizing their importance to the LGBTQ community across generations.
In 1978, it became the home of the Ridiculous Theater. They almost always had drag roles in them.
About 10 years now, we've been doing the tours, getting people into the streets where history took place. And in some ways, we feel that it's like time traveling back. And that, I think, in many ways engages people in an earth-shattering way.
Beyond the obvious locations like the Stonewall Inn, this tour points out spots like an unassuming corner that was once one of the first privately owned lesbian bars in New York, or the location of a cafe in the 1930s where LGBTQ people were welcomed and felt free to be themselves, something unheard of at the time.
It's so rewarding to see people's expressions when you take them to those places that they all have that aha moment, that they hear that LGBTQ history started well before the 1969 Stonewall uprising, that you've got people's reactions saying, oh, there was a gay life. Even though it was oppressive, people had wonderful experiences with themselves and created a community.
And there are surprising discoveries on the tour, like Gay Street, likely being named after a family from the 1800s, and the fact that it's located near the epicenter of the movement, right off Christopher Street, is purely serendipitous geography.
It was named well over a century before the term gay came to be a synonym for LGBTQ people. But there is a gay history associated with the street.
Remembering and seeing these locations is making once invisible history visible.
The LGBTQ community needs that history because especially now it's really important for people to be connected, to understand they're not alone, that this history is all around them. The story of their lives can be read in the buildings. It's these unexpected discoveries that you leave going, ah, I'm grounded, I have a little more connection to New York than I thought I had in the past.
History can disappear as quickly as it's made if no one takes the time to preserve it.
And preservation is the purpose of the Lesbian Herstory archives.
The organization has been documenting the lives of lesbians since the start of the gay liberation movement.
The Lesbian Herstory Archives was founded in 1974 by 5 individuals. And they were noticing that their history was slipping away right before their eyes. And they formed a consciousness-raising group to make a specific political statement about collecting lesbian lives. And they were interested specifically in thinking about the ways in which lesbian history was being ignored by general women's histories. So they would go around to all of the lesbian organizations and groups that they were already a part of, and they would collect like flyers, pamphlets. They subscribed to magazines. They would barter in exchange with people, do oral histories. So it's run by lesbians, for lesbians. We collect all signs of lesbian life, and then anything that contains lesbian materials, right? So we don't care if you're famous or rich. We collect everyday lesbian life. So you can find really anything here. I've seen lots of tears, lots of really heartfelt, tender moments. Oftentimes it's like a level of shock of being like, oh wow, or people are coming here, not defensive, but they're expecting exclusion, right? Because they've been excluded from truly every other institution, or they're expecting a lack, right? And it's such a privilege that I have where I get to be like, no, we actually do have this really niche thing that you didn't think was going to be here, or maybe all of your identities you're able to see here. This is one of the spaces where you can usually find something, and people are often looking to see themselves reflected in the past. And it's a privilege and an honor to be able to provide that for them.
The Lesbian Herstory Archives is free to visit, and lesbians worldwide are encouraged to contribute items to the collection. Coming up next, a gay veteran shares his moving coming out story while serving in silence. And later, get in step for Pride with Dancing with the Stars pro Ezra Sosa. What a nice guy.
Show your pride, step up, show your haters to the side.
Welcome back. It's estimated there are more than 1 million LGBTQ military veterans in the United States.
Despite discriminatory policies like Don't Ask, Don't Tell, and the current ban on the trans military members, queer people have served our nation proudly since the American Revolution.
So this summer, as we celebrate 250 years of American independence, we honor the distinguished service of queer veterans, including Brooklyn native Charles Pisano.
We're very happy here. We've been here since 1980, and it's a beautiful neighborhood now. I got this letter in 1965. I was 18. That said, greetings. We were to report to Whitehall Street for induction. Going to the Army was not something I planned on, and it was a big shock to me. I ended up going to Fort Gordon, Georgia, and then I ended up going to Fort Ord, California for advanced training. New orders came out that I was going to Germany. This is a picture of me when I was in the Army in Germany. As you can see, the hat looks 10 times bigger than me. Being in another country was so different for me because I've never been out of the country before. I ended up having a very good time when I was in the Army. In fact, I came out in the Army. We were very, very secretive, especially on base. There was a town called Stuttgart, and that's where we would meet in one of the bars there. And we talked there, and that was our release. I took a lot of leaves to go to different countries while I was in Germany. Most of the guys I was with in my barracks just wanted to go to drink. I said, no, I'm in Europe. I want to see these countries. So I got to see 13 countries while I was there. While I was in Italy, I said, I'm going to get the nerve to go to the Vatican and go to St. Peter's and tell the priest in the confessional that I was gay. I figured I'm so far away from home, what could happen? So I go to the priest in the confessional there, and I tell the priest I'm gay. But he looked at me and says, being able to love another person in the world is the most beautiful thing in the world. Don't condemn yourself. I walked out of that confessional with my head held high. That's the first time I felt proud. I walked out of that confessional. I felt like a new person. When I came back to New York, I still had a protected lifestyle. One day I saw these 2 guys with tight white pants on. So I said, they're gay, they have to be gay. So I followed them to the Stonewall. And when they get to the Stonewall, this is going to show you how secret it was. A guy opens a little box on the top door, like a speakeasy, and if you looked gay, he would let you in. I get in there, I was so fascinated, I was so happy. I said, my God, I finally found this. I found a new beginning. I met George, we're at a gay bar in Brooklyn Heights, and I call him over. I said to him, would you like to dance? He says, okay, we danced. So we ended up talking the rest of the night. We exchanged numbers and all that, and we started dating. In fact, I still have the piece of paper in my wallet of the number, his phone number that he gave me. I've been with my husband, George, for 55 years now, and it's one of the best part of my life. I'm very extremely happy about it. And when Governor Cuomo passed the law about marriage equality, I sent email out to a couple of friends. I said, after a long engagement of 40 years, we're going to get married. This is the photo of when George and I got married on November 5th, 2011. I appreciate today because it's so happy to see people walking down the street holding hands and not being ashamed of themselves. Where in the 1960s, everything was behind closed doors. And I was very, very afraid of being caught, especially in the Army. I was so afraid of telling my parents that when my parents were close to death, I didn't have the nerve to tell them, but I wanted to tell a family member. And I told my sister, and she ends up turning the whole family, including my 2 nieces, against me. So it bothers me a lot, especially around the holidays. It's something that happened in my life. Until today, I resent not being able to have the nerve to tell my parents. I would give somebody the advice of be who you are. Don't try to conceal it, because it eventually comes out anyway. Here we are in Provincetown, and this way you can avoid all the years of aggravation and torture for yourself. This is a time of our generation that everything is more accepted, where in my generation it wasn't that way. So I would tell them, be yourself, be honest with yourself.
According to the U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs, gay and lesbian veterans are at a disproportionate risk for suicide and poor health outcomes.
So if you're a veteran who's struggling, reach out to the Veterans Crisis Line. Just dial 988, then press 1. The crisis line is free, confidential, and available 24/7.
Coming up next, we introduce you to Full of Regrets, a sharp-witted social media drag queen. And later, a Dancing with the Stars pro living authentically in and out of the ballroom.
Pride Month to me is celebration, it's love.
She's a saucy senior who's building a cult following on social media with her campy and completely implausible stories.
Full of Regrets is a digital drag queen whose elderly appearance is part Snapchat filter, part granny wig.
All right, she's the creation of a man in Queens who wants to honor his grandmother's memory while building a legacy of laughter all his own.
It's a wonderful wig, so I just sort of shake her out when I'm ready. As queens say, it's a shake and go. My name is Michael Stafiri. I started dabbling in drag in my mid-20s. And that's where the name came from, and a drag persona full of regrets.
Well, hello. I'm full of regrets, and I have a story to tell you. Liam Neeson once saved my life from the Mexican drug cartel.
I started writing these like micro monologues that were 3 or 4 sentences long, just to send to my friends to make them laugh. Some of them get a little naughty.
I was cast as Babs's understudy, and I shared this terrifying task with loudmouth, big-boned Lainey Kazan, who tried on several occasions to poison me with borax.
I love absurdist comedy and almost bridging on surrealist comedy. I have one about walking Marie Antoinette to the guillotine, but talking about Peggy Lee while she's doing it.
She didn't like Peggy Lee much. She was more of a Julie London fan, who can blame her?
The opening lines are quite fun to write because I am trying to grab people.
I woke up several hours later in the back of a paddy wagon, topless, surrounded by drag queens, each of whom had an article of my clothing on. They are quick and resourceful.
Fulla is a version of my grandmother. I always imitated everybody in my family, but my grandmother had a very specific cadence, her voice. She was an Italian-American lady from the Bronx. She was the perfect vehicle. also in a very Norman Bates kind of way. It helps me keep my grandmother with me.
In 1982, Pavarotti and I had a one-night stand that I'll never forget. I filled up a bathtub with pasta and we splashed around all night till we were al dente.
I don't have to paint my face for hours. I just have this wonderful Snapchat filter that turns me from, you know, this, which is, you know, leaves a lot to be desired, into the perfect, you know, cross between Elaine Stritch and Olympia Dukakis.
And as I once said while sponge bathing Marlon Brando, what's beyond this crevasse, I don't know.
She's the world's grandmother. There's a warmth and there's some sort of comfort that she gives people. And I love being able to do that, but marry with it my, you know, dirty sense of humor.
And then he made sweet, sweet love to me while singing Danny Boy. And I'll tell you, the pipes were calling.
So this is what I do in my living room on an afternoon in the middle of the day.
From a social media sensation to the new season of Dancing with the Stars, professional dancer and LGBTQ advocate Ezra Sosa is out to prove life is better when you're dancing.
Every single time I step out on stage, I feel like I'm able to just fly. I felt it ever since I was a kid, and I still feel it to this day. I was 7 years old when I started to dance. I was always moving around as a kid. My mom just said, like, I would just be shuffling my feet around, and she knew that I was gonna be a dancer someday. I was 21 years old when I came out, officially, publicly. Everybody around me knew I was gay, but it just took, you know, 21 years of living to actually embrace it and accept it, and just to publicly say it.
Dancing freestyle with her partner Ezra Sosa.
So when I started Dancing with the Stars, I was in the closet. And I was really nervous about doing the show. Growing up, I was told multiple times that I couldn't be a gay dancer on Dancing with the Stars. So I feel like growing up, I just was bottling so much of who I am down. So many kids that watch the show that are also queer, they look up to me. So I really take that, like, I hold on to it a lot, and it's really important to me. I go and I perform a show, I'll get a couple of closeted kids that reach out and DM me. For me, it just breaks my heart knowing that there's kids out there that, you know, shared the same struggles that I did growing up. And I know a lot of them don't have that same support system. Know that there is a place for you out there in this world. If it's not where you are, it's gonna be out there somewhere. How I would describe being in this position, it's just healing my inner child. I definitely feel like a huge reason why I am the person I am today is the experiences I was able to share with my Dancing with the Stars family. Not only did I feel appreciated, accepted, but I was also celebrated for being who I am. And I don't think there's any greater feeling than that.
Watch for Ezra when Dancing with the Stars returns for its 35th season this fall.
Now, for links for all the stories that we've shared, just log on to our website, abc7ny.com/pride.
And join Sam, Kimberly, Pedro Rivera, and me for WABC's live coverage of the New York City Pride March, starting at noon on Sunday, June 28th, right here on Channel 7. Thank you for joining us, and happy Pride.
Happy Pride, everyone.
Let's get started.
For all of us.
This feeling never has to end. We shine forever.
For all of us. Did you not do it again?
So let the light show begin.
For all of us.
Sorry.
Which one were you doing?
I thought you were going to say what?
For all of us.